Hey everybody, it's Miss Salzillo. I hope you're enjoying your first little bit of summer. I just remembered that we never finished this book, and I promised you guys that I would post videos of me reading each chapter to you guys. So here is the first of many videos that it will take to finish this book. We've got about this much left. Wow. Yeah, we were not going to finish this before school got over. Right now we are in chapter 9. We're like right in the middle of chapter 9. So for this video, I will read the rest of chapter 9 and chapter 10. Woo! So, keep tuning in every few days and I'll post a video for each chapter. So what happened last in the book, Hoot, was Roy, the main character, remember? He was going back to school, and Dana, the bully, was looking for him, and he wanted to beat him up. And we also found out that Dana is afraid of Beatrice the bear, which is interesting. We also found out that Beatrice the bear's brother is the boy who has been running mysteriously without shoes. That's the boy Roy was trying to catch and, talk to, remember? Roy's intrigued by that. The cop told him what was going on with somebody vandalizing the site for the construction site. And we think it has something to do with the owls, but we're not sure yet. And somehow we talked about that all these characters were connected. So let's see what happens. The last thing that just happened was Roy was trying to ignore Dana because he was looking for him after school to try and probably beat him up, which is sad. All right, let's take it to page 103. Let's be crystal clear about this, Mr. Brannett. You didn't report it to the police. No, sir, Curly said empathetically into the telephone. So there shouldn't be any paperwork, correct? No possible way for this latest travesty to end up in the press. Not that I can figure, Mr. Muckle. For Curly, it had been another long, discouraging day. The sun had finally broken through the clouds, but after that, it was all downhill. The construction site remained uncleared, the earth-moving equipment sitting idle. Curly had stalled as long as possible before phoning Mother Paula's corporate headquarters. Is this your idea of a sick joke? Chuck Muckle had snarled. It ain't no joke. Tell me again, Mr. Brannett, every miserable detail. So Curly had repeated everything, from the beginning when he'd arrived early at the site early that morning. The first sign of trouble had been Carlo waving a tattered red umbrella and chasing his 4 attack dogs along the inside of the perimeter of his fence. He was shrieking hysterically in German. Not wishing to be mauled by dogs or gored by the umbrella, Curly had remained outside the gate, watching in puzzlement. A Coconut Cove police cruiser had just pulled up to investigate. It was Officer Delinko, the same cop who dozed off while guarding the construction site. It was because of him that the spray painting fiasco had made the newspaper and gotten Curly into hot water with Mother Paula's company. I was on my way to the station when I saw the commotion, Officer Delinko had said, raising his voice over the barking of the Rottweilers. What's wrong with these dogs? Nothing, Curly had told him. It's just a training exercise. The cop had bought it and driven away, much to Curly's relief. Once the Rottweilers were secured on their leashes, Carlo had hustled them into the camper truck and locked the tailgate. Furiously, he turned toward Curly and jabbed the umbrella in midair. You tried to kill my dogs! The foreman had raised his palms. What are you talking about? Carlo had thrown open the gate and stopped up to Curly, who was wondering if he should pick up a rock for self-defense. Carlo was drenched with sweat, the veins in his neck bulging. Snakes! He had spit out the word. What snakes? Yeah, you know what snakes. The place is crawling with them. Poison ones. Here Carlo had wiggled one of his pinky fingers. Poison snakes with shiny tails. No offense, but you're nutty as a fruitcake, Curly said. Curly never had once seen a snake on Mother Paula's site, and he would have remembered if he had. Snakes gave him the willies. Nuts, you say? Carlo had seized him under one arm and led him to the portable trailer that served as Curly's office. There, coiled comfortably around the second step, was a thick, mottled specimen that Curly recognized as a cottonmouth water moccasin, common in southern Florida. Carlo was right. It was seriously poisonous, and its tail was sparkly. Curly had found himself backing up. I think you're getting carried away, he said to Carlo. Yeah? You think? The dog trainer had hauled him toward the fence to point out another moccasin, then another, and still another. 9 in all. Curly had been flabbergasted. What do you think now? Think Carlo is a nasty frupa? I can't explain it, Curly had admitted shakingly. Maybe all this rain brought him up out of the swamp. Yeah, sure. Listen, No, you listen. Each of dogs is worth $3,000 US. That is $12,000 barking here in the truck. What happens? Dog get bit by snake. Dog dies, yeah? I don't know about no snakes. I swear. It's a miracle these dogs are all okay. Pookie Face, the snake came after him this close. Carlo had indicated a distance about a yard. I take umbrella and I push him away. It was just about then that Carlo had accidentally stepped in an owl burrow and twisted his ankle. Rejecting Curly's offer of assistance, the dog trainer had hopped on one leg back to the camper truck. I go now. Don't ever call me again, he had fumed. Look, I said I was sorry. How much do I owe you? 2 bills, I said. 1 for the dogs, 1 for my leg. Yeah. Oh, come on. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I talk to lawyer instead. Carlo's pale eyes had been gleaming. Maybe I cannot any longer train dogs. My legs hurt so much. Maybe I go on, what you say, disability. For Pete's sake. Mother Paula is a very big company, has lost some money, yeah? After Carlo had roared away, Curly carefully made his way to the trailer. The cottonmouth was no longer sitting on the steps, but Curly didn't take any chances. He set up a stepladder and hoisted himself through the window. Fortunately, he saved the phone number of a reptile wrangler who successfully removed the alligators from the toilets. This guy was tied up on an iguana call, but his secretary promised he would come to the construction site as soon as possible. Curly had holed up in the trailer for almost 3 hours until the reptile wrangler pulled up to the gate. Armed with only a pillowcase and a modified 5-iron, the guy had methodologically scoured the Pancake House property in search of sparkle-tail water moccasins. Incredibly, he found none. That ain't possible, Curly had explained. They were all over the place this morning. The reptile wrangler had shrugged. Snakes can be unpredictable. Who knows where they went? That's not what I want to hear. You're sure they were moccasins? I never saw one with a shiny tail. Thanks for all your help, Curly said snidely, and slammed the trailer door shut. Now, it was he who was on the receiving end of the peevish sarcasm. Maybe you can train the snakes to guard the property, Chuck Muckle was saying, since the dogs didn't work out. It ain't so funny. You got that right, Mr. Brannett. It's not funny at all. Them cottonmouths can kill a person, Curly said. Really? Can they kill a bulldozer too? Well, probably not. Then what are you waiting for? Curly sighed. Yes, sir. First thing Monday morning. Music to my ears, Chuck Muckle said. Now moving back to the scene with Roy and Dana. The janitorial closet smelt pungently of bleach and cleaning solvents. Inside, it was almost as black as night. Dana Matherson had reached out and snagged Roy as he ran towards the gym, pulling him inside the closet and slamming the door. Nimbly, Roy had squirted out of Dana's moist grab, and now he huddled in the cluttered floor while Dana stumbled around, punching blindly. Scooting on the seat of his pants, Roy made his way towards a paper-thin stripe of light that he assumed was some shining through a crack beneath the door. From somewhere above came a bang, and then a pained yelp. Apparently, Dana had delivered a ferocious uppercut to an aluminum bucket. Somehow, Roy located the doorknob in the darkness. He flung open the door and lunged for freedom. Only his head made it into the hallway before Dana caught him. Roy's fingertips squeaked across the linoleum as he was pulled backwards, and again the door closed on his shouts for help. As Dana yanked him off the floor, Roy desperately groped for something for which to defend himself with. His right hand found what was like a wooden broom handle. "I got you now, cowgirl," Dana whispered hoarsely. He locked Roy in a fierce bear hug that emptied the air from Roy's lungs like an accordion. His arms were pinned to his sides, and his legs dangled as limply as a rag doll. "Now ain't you sorry you messed with me?" Dana gloated. As Roy grew dizzy, the broom handle dropped from his fingers, and his ears filled with the sound of crashing waves. Dana's clench was smothering, but Roy found he could still move his lower legs. With all his unsnapped strength, he started thrashing both feet. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Roy felt himself falling. He landed face up so that his backpack absorbed the impact. It was still too dark to see, but Roy had surmised from Dana's whimpering gasp that he had been kicked in a very sensitive part of his body. Roy knew that he had to move swiftly. He tried to roll over, but he was weak and breathless from Dana's brutish hug. He lay there helplessly like a turtle that had been flipped on its back. When he heard Dana bellow, Roy closed his eyes and gritted himself for the worst. Dana fell heavily upon him, clamping his meaty paws around Roy's throat. "This is it," Roy thought. "This dumb goon is really gonna kill me." Roy felt hot tears rolling down his cheeks. "Sorry, Mom, maybe you and Dad could try again," he thought. Suddenly, as the door of the utility closet flew open and the weight on Roy's chest seemed to vaporize, he opened his eyes as Dana Matherson was being lifted away, arms flailing from a stunned expression on his pug face. Roy remained on the floor, catching his breath and trying to sort out what had just happened. Maybe Mr. Ryan had overheard the sounds of the struggle. He was plenty strong enough to hoist Dana like a bale of alfalfa. Eventually, Roy flopped over and got on his feet. He fumbled for the light switch and rearmed himself with the broom handle just in case. When he poked his head out of the closet, he saw that the hallway was deserted. Roy dropped the broom handle and streaked for the nearest exit. He almost made it, too. "I missed my bus," Roy muttered. "Big deal. I'm missing soccer practice," said Beatrice. So it was Beatrice who got Dana Matherson away from Roy, which is awesome. Good for Beatrice. What about Dana? He'll live. It wasn't Mr. Ryan who'd saved Roy from the whooping in the closet. It was Beatrice Leap. She had left Dana Matherson stripped down to his underpants and trussed to the flagpole in front of the administration building at Trace Middle School. There, Beatrice had borrowed a bicycle, forcefully installed Roy on the handlebars, and was now churning at a magic pace towards an unknown destination. Roy wondered if this was kidnapping, in the legal sense of the term. Surely there must be a law against one kid snatching another kid from school property. "Where are we going?" He expected Beatrice to ignore the question, as she had twice before. But this time she answered, "Your house." "What?" "Just be quiet, okay? I'm in no mood, cowgirl." Roy could tell by her tone of voice that she was upset. "I need to save her," she told him. "Right away." "Sure, anything you want." What else could he say? He was hanging for dear life on Beatrice as she zigzagged across busy intersections and zagged through lines of traffic. She was a skilled bicyclist, but Roy was nervous nonetheless. Bandages, tape, goop to stop infections. Beatrice was saying, "Your mom got any of that stuff?" "Oh, of course." Roy's mother kept enough emergency medical supplies to run a mini emergency room. "Good deal. Now all we'll need is a cover story." "What's going on? Why can't you get the bandages at your home?" "Because it's none of your business." Beatrice set her jaw and pedaled faster. Roy got a queasy feeling that something bad must have happened to Beatrice's stepbrother, the running boy. Mrs. Everhart greeted them at the front door. "I was getting worried, honey. Was the bus late?" "Oh, who's this?" "Mom, this is Beatrice. She gave me a lift home." "Oh, I'm very pleased to meet you, Beatrice." Roy's mother wasn't just being polite. She was plainly delighted that Roy had brought home a friend, even if it was a tough-looking girl.